Hey guys, welcome back to the old mill shed. I'm going to be completely honest with you, we're not having a good day. I came out here and I finished up the machine overview video and went to start the tractor up. I got some parts for the trailer that came in. I need to use the loader to move them up here. And the machine won't start. I turn the key, I get a click, and that's it. It's always something, ain't it? So first things first, let's see what our battery voltage is. And already I can see something that I don't like. I have some corrosion on the positive battery post. Okay, well, we have 12 volts. So that's good. Let's check this connection out over here. Okay, so right here I'm seeing a lot of greenish blue, like a powder. Let's pull that off and see what's going on with that. Got some electrically conductive grease. See if we can't do something with this. Huh, that was loose. Think that could have been it? I mean, if that's all it was, it would be nice. All I'm doing now is just scraping the lid a little bit. Just make sure we don't have any oxidation on it. The wire brush will get most of it, but sometimes you just got to have a little bit more. And I have one of those things that stick on here, you just twist, but I think it's in my truck right now, and it is off in Bedford getting a new engine and transmission put in it. And I don't want to drive all the way to Bedford just for that. Just going to scrape our copper until it's nice and shiny. Always do your pull tests when you put something like this on. Okay. Let's see if that worked. Nope. So we've checked our battery voltage, and we have good voltage on the battery. We fixed that in so we know we have good connection on the battery. And we just checked the continuity of the cable going back to the starter. I don't know if it showed up on camera or not, but when I was hitting the key, you could hear the solenoid engaging. So that tells me all the safety switches on this machine are allowing the current to go to the solenoid to engage the starter. So I don't really see any need to check any of that. What I'm guessing at this point is that the brushes in the starter motor are worn and are not making good contact with the armature. What you haven't seen is about a week prior to this, I've had to take the hammer handle and tap on it a little bit, and then the starter would work. And you never really want to beat on these things, but a slight tap won't hurt them to get you going again. So I'm going to go ahead and remove the starter, and then we're going to put a new one on. I don't know if it shows up on camera or not, but we have one bolt here that's right next to the loader bracket. The other bolt is way back over in here. Now that one on the back side actually seems like it's going to be a little easier to get to than this one. But it's a 14 millimeter bolt on it, and you can't quite get a socket on it for some reason. I wonder. No, it doesn't come in on the other side. That would be too simple. Even with the nut loose, you can't really get your hand in there easily to finish taking it off. Okay, let's try that back one. I mean, once you get the socket on there, it isn't too bad. It's going to be interesting to see how hard it is to get that nut back on that stud. Comes a moment of truth to see if the starter will come out now. Of course. Now, the top of the loader bracket will not allow the starter to come by. If you're the person who designed this and you're watching this right now, I don't like you at all. I mean, it'd be easy to fix. I can just grind a little bit off that starter once I get it out. But I got to get it out. I mean, I knew this was going to be an issue, getting this starter out. I didn't think it was going to be like this. Would taking that loader bracket off or at least dropping it down, because it's not hitting. These bolts seem to be fairly well centered. If I could drop it down just a little bit, that starter would come right out. Who would have thought I would have had to partially remove the loader or loosen the mounting bolts on a loader just to replace a starter? And I don't even know if this is going to work or not. I'm just guessing. And for anyone wondering, I'm using a 22mm socket. What my goal is, my intention is, if I loosen these up just a little bit, maybe the loader will drop, maybe about a 1/16 of an inch. I don't need much, just enough that I can get the starter out. And before I put the new starter back in, I'm going to go to my grinder, and on the bottom edge of it, I'm going to grind a little bit off so it'll slide in and out a lot easier. These bolts ain't even halfway tight. That makes you feel good. I got to thinking it might be a good idea to put a scribe line on the frame where the loader attaches to. So I know exactly where to go back. Okay, I feel the jack, or hear the jack loading up. This is the bolt that's holding everything. I have a feeling. Get that and tighten back up. So this one. So I'm uncertain how long the battery has been dead on the camera. It's been about 30 minutes since I checked it. So sometime within the past half hour it died. What I ended up having to do is just take all the bolts loose, mostly on the top. Take out the loader pin back here, disconnect the loader from the mounting post, and take my pry bar and just pull back on it, and I was able to make this rock away from the machine enough to get the starter out. I've got the starter back from the rebuilder. Starter, he tested it when I took it up there, and it would turn over, but under load it would just stall. The brushes were shot, the solenoid wasn't, I mean, it would work, but when the voltage would drop a little bit, even half a volt, it would kick back out like the holding coil wasn't working correctly. So they rebuilt everything. It took them about 2 days, and we've got it back. But as I was taking this off the machine, I noticed that the positive battery cable had some melted areas on it. Noticed a few other things that I didn't really like. And also the battery is a bit suspect to me. It's got a few years on it. And you know, these batteries, they sit out in cold weather. You might go weeks or months without starting the machine, and they drain down. And you know, tractor batteries kind of have a rough life. A lot of vibration and everything as well. So what we're going to do, I've pulled the negative wire off. We're going to clean up where that attaches to the frame. We're going to put new ends on the wires. And then I bought a new 2-gauge battery cable that we're going to run back to the starter. Where the negative battery cable connects to the chassis, it was painted at the factory. Now granted, the bolt going through the end and into the chassis probably provides a good enough ground. Where the end of the connector sits up next to the chassis, I want to scrape that paint off. I got these scrapers off of Amazon. They have a little carbide tip on there, a little square piece of carbide, and they work really, really well for situations as this. They'll just cut right down through the paint. Lots of times baked on grease, things of that nature, where a putty knife really doesn't want to get it off. These work great. I will leave a link to these in the description. I don't know how well this is even going to show up. It's kind of overcast today. Maybe if I take my phone light and shine it down here, you can see it a little better. Yeah. You see how it just cleaned up right around that hole. And while we already had the little battery cable off of the grounding cable off of it, I went ahead and cleaned up the connector. And I'm going to wrap this up with tape and we'll put it back on. And also, since we already have the battery cable off, we'll just take our battery brush. We'll just clean out the inside of the terminal. Get that nice and clean and shiny. And we'll just go ahead and hit the posts on the battery as well. While we're here, we'll put a little anti-oxidation grease on it, just to keep everything from corroding up. I hope this shows up okay. Turn my light on my phone on here. But while I had the starter in the shop, I took those scrapers and cleaned up around where the starter sits to make sure we get a good connection to the block for grounding purposes. Milling that little tab off of the ear of the starter really makes it a lot easier putting this back on. So the battery cable that runs from the battery back to the starter, the old one was a 4-gauge battery cable, which is about 200 thousandths. Now, I would have thought 4-gauge would have been 250 thousandths. I was always taught gauge usually refers to how many will go into an inch. And I guess technically, 200 thousandths will go into an inch 4 times. Actually go 5 times. So in my thinking, it would have been 5-gauge. But no, when it comes to the wire gauge, 4-gauge is about 200 thousandths. Probably, well, I think I measured it's like 207. I'm going back with 2-gauge. Now again, in my way of thinking, 2-gauge would have been 500 thousandths, but it's not. It's a little over 250 thousandths, what I thought would be 4-gauge. And I measured some other 2-gauge I had laying around. I had a little short section of it, and it was about 257, 260 thousandths. Of course, your wires move around a little bit. It's kind of hard to get it exact. So, just went by Tractor Supply. Now this one is 38 inches long. It's going to be a little bit longer than what we really need. But I liked it because it had the terminal already molded into the wire. And it had this other wire molded into it where I can hook my alternator up to and not constantly fiddling with them little screws, which is actually another point of corrosion. Because this battery is suspect, I'm going to hook everything up more temporarily for right now. And then we're going to hook a multimeter up, and then we're going to try to crank this thing over. Now, the wire heading up to the fuse block and ultimately to the switch and which operates the rest of the tractor, I'm going to leave off. Everything that is not directly involved with the starter, we're not going to hook up, including the key switch. We'll start it with a remote push button switch you'll see here in a minute. Reason being, and I'm not even hooking up the alternator, reason being is I want to make sure that I know the starter's good. I want to test the battery, and I want to make sure I don't have some ground somewhere else giving me a false reading. Okay guys, here's the moment of truth. I got everything hooked up. We ain't gonna worry about how hillbilly it looks. Now I've got everything in neutral. Yep, that's neutral. That's neutral, and my brakes are locked, and I don't have the fuel pump hooked up or anything. So this thing can't run away with me. So let's see if it'll turn over. Ooh, y'all see how low that dropped? Yeah. Even though it's turning over, I don't like how low that's dropping down. Okay guys, so a couple hours later, had the battery checked. They put it on their little machine and it passed. I was actually surprised. So I've got it all put back together, and I still have a suspicion about the switch, but the switch may have been a symptom of the other issues with the starter not being like it should have been, and that battery cable having melted spots, could have been grounding out some. But it's all back together. We're going to try to start it up and see what we have. Okay guys, so this is back in operation. You don't know how big of a load this is off of me. Going a couple weeks without this machine after I've gotten used to having it, it was tough. I didn't realize how much I relied on it already until I didn't have it. I do want to give a shout out to Dominion Starter Repair in Roanoke down on Shenandoah Avenue. They're not sponsoring me. I paid full price for their services, but they are a great company to deal with. I've actually dealt with them in the past several times. They have always been great. So if you're in the Roanoke area and you need a starter rebuilt, I would definitely consider giving them a call. So it may not be the next video that I do, but the next video that I have planned for this tractor is we're going to go through it and go over everything that's wrong with it and start making the little repairs on the little things that don't take it out of service but need to be fixed. So as always, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, give me a thumbs up, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. It helps the algorithm a lot. And we'll see you here next time under the shed.